Have you? Okay. Shall we start with the Mangalacharan prayers?
Yes, please. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Those who know it, we can recite it all together. Om Ajnanatirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya. Please mute your mic though. Om Ajnanatirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya. Chakshurun Militam Yaina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayham Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guruho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathantam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Paricharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashichatyadesh Tarine He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Paranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhascha Kripasindhove Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Shri Krishna Balaram ki jai, Shri Shri Radha Shyam Sundar, Lalita Vishaka Devi ki jai, Shri Shri Gaurnitai ki jai, and obviously Radha Gokulananda ki jai, Sitaram Lakshmana Hanuman ji ki jai, Shri Shri Gaurnitai ki jai, Samaveta Bhaktivaranda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Gaur. Okay. Did you hand over the control, Mataji, to me, or the Zoom? Let me see. Yes, I think you did.
Yes, I did.
Okay, you can see this. Can you see all of you?
Yes, Prabhuji, we can see. Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, the title of kind of today's topic is the purpose of human life according to the Vedas. In fact, I wasn't initially going to give a PPT presentation, but I had prepared some slides earlier for some other talk I gave earlier on Bhagavad Gita. So I just developed that. I hope this will be useful to you. So let's get straight into this purpose of human life according to the Vedas. So there's two different topics here. Human life and its purpose and the Vedas. So what we're going to do first, we're going to look at the Vedic scriptures. What are the Vedic literatures? Unless we know what the Vedas are, then we may not know what the purpose is according to the Vedas, because the Vedas vast. Some of the Vedic literatures constitute, oh, where are they? I'm unable to see what I'm doing. I will, first of all, let me just, okay, anyway, you can see, I can't see. The four Vedas, 108 Upanishads, then there are 18 Puranas, then there are two Itihasas. Itihasas means the histories. They are Ramayana and Mahabharata. The six darshans are the philosophical systems of ancient India. We will look at that in a minute. Then there are besides the four Vedas, there are the Upavedas. Um, and besides the 18 Puranas, there are another 18 Puranas. There are six Upavedas and 18 Upaved Puranas. Then there's numerous sutras, um, Brahma Sutras, Vedanta Sutra, Griha Sutras, for example. And then the Smritis, or the Dharma Shastras. Um, there is there's so many of them. The Sthal Puranas means the local histories of each place, of important place. And then there are writings of the great saints, sages, down over the last so many centuries or so many yugas. Now, all of these actually constitute about a 1 billion verse, which is available to us right now. Well, it should be available. But unfortunately, a lot of them are not available. But technically, according to Anand Ramayan, um, these all constitute on the earthly realm, like 1 billion verses. And on the heavenly planets and different planetary systems, the higher planetary systems, these 1 billion verse are expanded into several billion verses. For example, the Mahabharata, what we know, it constitutes about 100,000 verses. That's what we know. But in the heavenly planets, in the Swarga Loka, the same Mahabharata is much, much more detailed. And that has about 350,000 verses. So the pastimes of the Supreme Lord and the philosophical treatise of philosophical ideas within the Vedas are vast, and they're revealed differently according to different planetary systems, and especially to the capability of understanding by the living entities. But however, it's very heartening to know, because it can take lifetimes just to read and to understand, and also to implement the teachings of the Vedas. But however, the essence of all this 1 billion verses is contained in the 700 verses of the Bhagavad Gita. And if just by reading, understanding, implementing, and following the teachings of Lord Krishna in those 700 verses, then we're able to understand 1 billion verses of the Vedic literature, etc., etc., etc. But we're not going to go into the Bhagavad Gita right now. This is just to give you an idea what the Vedic, the Hindu or the Vedic scriptures look like. Again, we're not going to go into this chart. This is just for your information. It's vast array of knowledge, because the Veda literally means knowledge. So the knowledge is unlimited, because knowledge of the supremely unlimited personality is also unlimited. In this world, as it is, we see there's so many libraries, so many books are written on one topic, so much information is available on one topic. There's so many newspapers are printed daily. I'm talking print media, not not electronic media. So many newspapers are printed daily around the world, tens of thousands. There's so much information is available in the world we live in. Similarly, there's so much information is available in this world we live in and the other world, or worlds which exist. And the Vedas contain that. So just give you an idea what the Vedic scriptures look like. All of us, every living entity, has four defects. And what they are: we all tend to commit mistakes. We all tend to be illusioned. We have imperfect senses. And we have tendencies to cheat others. Now, whether we like it or not, whether we accept it or not, but if we analyze ourselves or analyze others, you will find that every one of us has these four defects. Some demonstrated much more than others, some have less, some have more, but all of us have these defects. And with these four imperfections, it's not possible to deliver the perfect information known as the Vedas or the Vedic knowledge, spiritual knowledge, or knowledge about God, knowledge about phenomenon and numinal world, or the spiritual, or the material world. So we find that the Vedic scriptures were actually compiled by Vyasadeva. And Vyasadeva is not an ordinary personality. He's in fact considered, the scriptures themselves say he was an incarnation of the Supreme Lord. So he wasn't an ordinary living entity. Therefore, the Vedic scriptures is known as Apurusha. That means they're not written by man. They're not man-made. Um, Srimad Bhagavatam also points out Dharmam Shakshat Bhagavat Paranitam. That means the dharma or the laws of God are carried out, taught, or implemented by God Himself. Bhagavat Paranitam. So therefore, to understand this knowledge, to receive this infallible knowledge, we have to get it from an infallible source. And what is that infallible source? It is known as the disciplic succession, a bona fide guru disciple parampara. We will touch on that later. We're not going to go in details these concepts because they can be a class on its own. Now, all the Vedas, Vedic literatures have three purposes in life. They're known as sambandha. Sambandha means one's relationship with Supreme Lord or Krishna. It's how one develops that relationship, and that is done through Radha Madan Mohan. The next one is abhidaya, that is, the relationship is developed through Radha Govinda Dev. How to act in that particular relationship one has developed. And the third is prayojan. That means what is the result of developing that relationship with the Supreme Lord? And that takes place through Radha Gopinath. And as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said, Prem Pamartha Mahan, the greatest necessity of human being is the achievement of the love of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Every Vedic literature, whether it's Puran, whether it's Veda, whether it's Upanishad, whether it's Itihas, Darshans, all of them have these three purposes. Now, why am I telling all this? Because we need to understand what is the purpose of human life according to the Vedas. So we first little bit trying to understand what are the Vedas. And within the Vedas, if you remember the chart, there are 6 philosophical systems. Very famous. In fact, if you ask any scholar of Indology or Indian religion, they will, when they talk about Indian philosophy, they will talk about these 6 systems. What they are? Yeah, different philosophical systems present. There are in the philosophical systems, there are 5 atheistic systems and 5 theistic systems. See, the Vedas are so vast, it accommodates atheism. To some may find it very surprising. How come atheism, which means no belief in God or the Supreme, is also considered part of the Vedic teachings? One has to imagine the Vedas, the Vedas as a large umbrella, and under the umbrella, everyone is standing and getting protected. And even those who don't believe in God, the Vedas give shelter to them. That's the broadness of the Vedas. It does not reject anyone. Rather, it attracts. The Vedic knowledge attracts everyone, whether they believe in God or don't believe in God. But they're known as atheistic because they don't accept the Vedas. And there are five main schools. Um, One is Buddhism, Jainism, Charvak Muni. There's a philosophy of Charvak Muni, and there's Ajivikas and Ajnana. These are again very similar to Charvak Muni's philosophy. Charvak Muni philosophy was, he said, even if you have to steal, beg, steal, and borrow, just eat as much ghee as possible. Ghee means enjoy yourself. Don't worry about the past, future. Just enjoy, even if you have to steal, beg. So there was Charvak Muni's philosophy. And then besides the atheistic, there is a theistic school. There are six theistic schools. Sankhya, which was proposed, the proponent is Kapil Muni, who we read in Srimad Bhagavatam, the, the son of Devhuti. It analyzes the, the material nature and divides the material nature into 24 elements. It has both theistic and atheistic part. Second one is yoga. Everyone knows yoga, Patanjali, Ramdev Baba, etc. So the idea is to control the mind, which is a cause of bondage. So the yoga system is not just what we see on TV, doing asanas and pranayam. That is just two aspects of the 8 stages of yoga. There are 2 stages before pranayam and asana, and there are 4 stages after that. But the idea is to control the mind. And then third is nyaya. Nyaya means logic, the system of logic. Uh, and anyway, by understanding the logic, one can attain one's destination. Other one is Visheshika. This was Sage Kannada. Again, understanding different elements and qualities of the material world, one can understand, and that leads to this science of self-realization. This is taught by Jaimini Muni, which is Purva Mimamsa. These are all the yajnas, the sacrifices we find in the Vedas. It was Jaimini Muni. And the last one, which we're going to look at in bit detail, is Uttar Mimamsa, which is known as Vedanta. This was the proponent of that was Srila Vyasadeva himself, although he wrote everything. All these different sages actually were disciples of Vyasadeva. Jaimini, Kannar, Gautam, Patanjali, etc. They were all disciples of Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva entrusted different parts, different knowledges to different disciples who later on propagated it. Now this Vedanta, which means end of knowledge, Bhakti Vedanta. Prabhupada's title is Bhakti Vedanta. The end of knowledge through bhakti. That's what that Bhakti Vedanta means. So it has also 2 branches. One is devotional branch, other one is impersonalistic branch. One is personal, other one is impersonal. We're not going to dwell on this a lot. We're just giving you some bullet points. Now, what Vyasadeva did, Vyasadeva did that all this Vedic knowledge, he coded it. Like in computer science, you code your systems, everything's coded. So similarly, Vyasadeva 5,000 years ago, he coded the Vedic language in a sutra form, concise codes. And these codes are known as Vedanta Sutras or the Brahma Sutras. And all the acharyas, all the great saints and sages of the last thousands of years, they've come and given their commentaries. And all of the every single one has to provide commentary on Vedanta Sutra to be recognized. Yes, this person is a scholar, he knows the Vedic knowledge, and is bona fide. And there are three prasthanas. Prasthana means proof or validation that every great saint and sage has to do that. In our Gaudiya tradition, this has also been done. And one is the Brahma Sutras, other one is Bhagavad Gita, the third one is the Upanishads. That constitutes the three prasthanas everyone has to comment on. Now, these commentaries normally they fall into again two categories. Why am I telling you all this? Because you won't understand the purpose of human life unless you just understand the breakdown of the Vedas. Because if we don't touch the right section of the Vedas, we don't go to the right destination. If we take one section of the Vedas and concentrate on that, which may not lead us to the destination we want to achieve. So it's very important to know what the Vedas are teaching us, and then we will understand what is the purpose of human life is. So one is Advaitavad, which means the absolute truth or supreme. God is formless. He has no form. He's full of energy and he has no attributes. He's all pervasive. The other one is Dvaitavad or Dvaita Vedanta. That means God is a person. The Lord is a person. He has a form which is spiritual, etc. Now, we're going to concentrate a little bit on Dvaita Vedanta, which is that God is a person. He has a form. He has a um, you know personality like all of us. And this Dvaita Vedanta, Srila Vyasadeva again wrote commentary. He wrote commentaries. He compiled all the Vedic literatures, and then he wrote these codes known as sutras. There are 555 codes, and these 555 codes summarizes 1 billion verses of the Vedic literature. That's why when you go deep into Indian or Vedic philosophy, it's mind-boggling. Just to decode 555 of the sutras or codes, just imagine the information of 1 billion verses is compressed into 555 verses. So again, it became very difficult for people to understand. So then what Vyasadeva did, he wrote a commentary on these Brahma Sutras or the codes. So people do understand. And what is that commentary? Is Srimad Bhagavatam. That's what we kind of would study and read. And then that Bhagavatam is a natural commentary, an authoritative commentary. To understand these codes and the philosophy, we have to read and understand Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, let's come to human life. There was something about the Vedas, now human life. Human life, there's a debate. People think there was nothing before human. There's nothing before us. We are all humans. There's I was not there before this existence, and I will not be there after current existence. And everyone has their own understanding, but we're looking at specifically according to Vedas, and according to Vedas, there are 8,400,000 species of life. Interestingly, those who have done science and follow some scientific facts, the modern scientists, modern biologists, anthropologists, they've actually counted the number of species present on planet Earth. And that comes to 8.7 million. And this ties in, this is 8.4 million, that's the 8.7 million. But the details differ. But the point is, the Vedas, Puranas written thousands of years ago, they talk about 8,400,000 species. And out of 8,400,000 species, we have 400,000 human species. Again, not going into details, but somebody has questions, we can discuss later on that. Now, to achieve human life, now we come into the purpose of human life. To achieve human life, uh, okay, let's look at what is the purpose. First of all, we're human. What is our purpose? Some people say the purpose of human life is to gain knowledge. Yes, it is. To achieve happiness, find joy, be content, and satisfied with one's pursuits, careers, and relationships, family, etc. Yes, that is a goal of, uh, can be a goal of somebody. And to do good and to do the right thing, that is also a purpose of human life. To create equality. So the reformers, socialists, um, the those people, so yeah, social workers, etc. They see we see there's a lot of inequality. So some people's goal is to create equality in life and to challenge oppression. That's how communism was created, and other other theories and other philosophies that come because to create equality, not just in not just in you know normal worldly circles, but equality on spiritual level as well. Many spiritual reformers have been there. Equality in caste system, etc., etc., etc. In India, caste system obviously naturally and does lead to oppression. Um, to distribute wealth, that's somebody's goal, purpose of human life. To contribute to the well-being and spirit of others, that is also a human goal of human life for some. And personally, to find peace and develop personal development, that can be a goal as well. And for some, to become a doctor, engineer, etc., 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 politician, an actor, sportsman, that can be a goal of human life as well. Become wealthy, and some people have no purpose at all. So every one of us have a different purpose. But our topic is, what is the purpose of human life according to the Vedas? Now, human life, the Vedas says, when somebody has a human life, when somebody is a human, what is the purpose? What does one do after becoming a human? Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Now is the time to inquire. Now, what is this? This is a Vedanta Sutra. What we talked about that earlier, the codes which Vyasadeva did, the very first code out of 555, the first code is Athato Brahma Jigyasa. So these are three words here. Just one code, one can write books on. I said earlier, 555 codes contains the knowledge of 1 billion verses. The great rishis, sages, the scholars, um, the great erudites in Vedic knowledge, they will write books and books on just these three words. That's how deeply coded this code is. To uncode it, it can take a long time. But simply, it means now is the time to inquire about the Supreme. What does now mean? Now means human life. Because to inquire about the Supreme, one cannot do it in other forms, other species of life, like animal, plant, bird, aquatics, etc. But human life, but we have to see why we need to inquire. If you don't understand why we need to inquire, we won't understand the purpose. So, but human life is very difficult to achieve, actually. Even Shankaracharya said, for all beings, a human birth is difficult to obtain. And then he said, rarer still is the attachment to the path of Vedic religion. Why inquire? Because all of us, every living entity, whether Every species, we go through 4 transformations in of life. There's 6, but are categorized into 4: birth, death, old age, and disease. Every everyone who's born might have to, whether we like it or not, we have to pass away. We have to die. Although this modern science is trying to preserve the bodies, um, cryogenics, it's known. The technology is known as cryogenics. Um, and we see in the science fiction films, when they sleep thousands of years, hundreds of years, they preserve the body. But anyway, that's a different topic. But anyone who's born, unfortunately, whether one likes or not, the hard fact of life is we have to live. And while one is born, we have to grow. We grow. No one stays young forever, although we like to stay young forever. So while we're growing, then there's diseases. And every stage, there are complications, there are challenges, there is pain, there is suffering. We won't go into all that. On top of this, there are 3 more kleshas or miseries in life. Again, whether we like it or not, that's a fact of life. We get troubled by our own mind and body. We get troubled by other living entities, maybe our friends, colleagues at work, or these somebody, the gundas, the dakus, um, or the thieves, etc. And we get troubled by the Mother Nature, uh, hurricanes, etc., etc., etc. Why inquire? Lord Krishna mentions this in Bhagavad Gita. He says there are 4 types of people. He says to Arjuna, pious people who begin to render service to him or begin to inquire about the Supreme Lord. Besides those 7, actually those 7 which we learned categorizes every single one. And Krishna says, one who's distressed, one who wants wealth, one who's inquisitive about what is his life about, and one who's searching for knowledge of the Supreme. So these type of people start to inquire, plus the 7 we talked about earlier. Again, why inquire? Because out of so many human beings who are suffering, all of us uh, do suffer. Some of us, or most people in the West, I've seen in India, it's very much open. Actually, they don't hide suffering in India. Everything is open. In the West, suffering is hidden through various means, through brainwashing, through advertisements, or not talking about the topic, or just ignoring the topic. But in India, they're not so conservative in that manner. They're very much open. And those who are suffering, actually, only few inquire about the position, what's going on. Krishna also mentioned this in Bhagavad Gita, Manushyanam Sahasreshu in 7th chapter. So, few understand now is the time I have to inquire. Because ignorance is bliss, yes, that is true. But sometimes that also reaches its limit. How much ignorance one can stay in and stay and be blissful. So there needs to, some people start to inquire. And our Vedas say, unless one is awakened to this position of questioning, the suffering, questioning while suffering, he doesn't realize that he doesn't want to suffer, but rather wants to make a solution to all suffering. Then one is not to be considered perfect human being. So human being is not a human being unless and until we start to inquire, why am I here? What am I doing here in this world? What is my goal in life? Where am I coming from? Where I'm going? What is my relationship with this world I live in? What is my relationship with the Creator? And what is the relationship between myself, Creator, and the world we live in? Uh, and why am I being put in this condition? These are the basic questions. Actually, understanding the Vedic knowledge, understanding Bhagavad Gita begins with these questions. Uh, unless one comes to questioning these aspects, human life doesn't begin according to the Vedas. Uh, Humanity begins with this sort of inquiry. And the Brahma Sutras therefore say Brahma Jigyasa or Athathur Brahma Jigyasa, the first code which we talked about. And that's how humanity actually begins. If we don't do that, if the questioning isn't there, and then Srimad Bhagavatam talks about everything is useless labor. Unless one starts inquiring, and if they do not provoke attraction for the message of the personality of Godhead, everything is just useless labor. Shramahi eva kevalam. Life's desires, and our Vedas also talk about, as we talked about the goal of life, success, wealth, longevity, health, etc. These are all necessary goals, but that's not the ultimate goal. Life's desires should never be directed towards sense gratification, but should only be a healthy life. Yes, we must aspire for healthy life. Since a human being is meant to inquire about the absolute truth, nothing else should be goal of one's work. Yes, without being healthy, we can't perform or inquire either. So health has to be there. But that's not the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is one has to inquire what all these matters which we've been talking about. And highest perfection, again, Bhagavatam says, can be achieved by discharging our duties, whatever we do, according to our karma, according to our activity and our qualification, is to please the personality Godhead, please the Supreme Personality. That's the highest perfection of human life. But unfortunately, people of today, they don't know what is the purpose of human life, as the Vedas talk about. And therefore, those who don't want to know, don't understand, don't care, not bothered, they actually are categorized, they fall into the mode of uh, darkness. There are three modes of material nature: passion, goodness, and darkness, tamagun, right? So, and they fall under this. And then what happens? Besides that, there are many people are atheistic. There was a talk about UK. There was some survey done some time back. They said, I think population of UK is about 60, just about 60 million. This survey is going back 15, 20 years ago. I don't know the latest. They said only 7% of the Christian population actually believe in God or go to church. Uh, Many people are atheistic, and many people just believe in YOLO. You only live once effect. They don't care what's going to happen to them tomorrow, the day after, or in next life. They don't care where they came from. Their idea is you only live once. So enjoy. Uh, Enjoy. Don't worry about anything. Whatever you need to do. Charvak Muni, the atheistic philosopher we talked about earlier, that was his philosophy. Enjoy. Don't worry about, even if you have to steal, if you have to kill somebody, if you have to beg and borrow, just enjoy. Don't worry about what's going to happen to you. And even many theistic people, those who believe in God, they don't fully understand the purpose of life as according to the Vedas. Uh, Now, even within the Vedic tradition, not everyone understands the goal of life. There are many different paths. Not all of them actually lead to the ultimate goal of life. Uh, So there's so many challenges just to get to the bottom of this. Now, in Prahlad Maharaj also talked about missed goal. Persons who are strongly entrapped by enjoying material life cannot understand the goal of life is to return home, back to Godhead and engage in the service of Vishnu. That is the goal, purpose of human life. That is the goal of life. Uh, and that's when one realizes that, yes, I need to understand who am I, where I'm coming from, where am I going, what is this world we live in, who's the creator, and I've had enough. I want to rise above this. Then one prays to the Supreme Lord. He says, from darkness, lead me to light. From untruth, lead me to truth. From death, lead me to immortality. This is the Vedic injunction. Asatoma sadgamaya, tamasoma jyotirgamaya, mrityuma amritagamaya. So then one realizes I have to rise above. How to do it? My goal is become spiritual, understand who I am, what is my relationship, and my goal is to go back to Godhead, where I came from, where we don't find all these sufferings and challenges in life. How does one do that? Bhagavad Gita talks about that. 434. One has to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service to him. The self-realized souls can impart knowledge because I've seen the truth. There's so many verses like this. So many ways the Vedas talk about. One must humbly approach his spiritual master. This is in the Upanishads. And then again, Upanishad says it must be this realization, my dear boy, cannot be acquired by logic. So out of the six darshans, logic is one of them, Nyaya, but the ultimately is Vedanta. That's what this is. This is Dvait Vedanta. It must be spoken by exceptionally qualified spiritual master. So one has to approach somebody. Again, Bhagavatam talks about that. Any person who seriously desires real happiness must seek a bona fide spiritual master, take shelter of. There's, there's so much guidance on this, so much instruction, how to achieve the goal once we understand what the goal is. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also said, all the living entities, out of 8,400,000 species of life, the living entity is going from one species to another species. And out of many millions of wandering living entities, one who's very fortunate gets an opportunity to associate with a bona fide spiritual master. And that's with the grace of Krishna. And with the mercy of both Krishna and the spiritual master, such person receives a seed of the creeper of devotional service. One once receives that, then through our sadhana, through our chanting, through our association, by reading, japa, etc., we actually water that seed of devotional, and that seed grows with our sadhana, grows to slowly grows, and then becomes a tree, and then fruits are there. But this growth doesn't stop here. This creeper actually penetrates the material world and enters the spiritual world. There, where it fructifies, and by which we attain goal of life. Again, only unto those great souls of implicit faith in both the Lord and spiritual master, all the imports of Vedic knowledge automatically revealed. So vast Vedas summarized into Bhagavad Gita, but sometimes we don't understand the Bhagavad Gita, even though it's a summary of everything. That understanding Bhagavad Gita can take a long time. This is a secret. Automatically, if we have full faith in the Lord and the person we hearing it from the spiritual master, that within the heart, all these things are relieved. But lastly, the key ingredient of understanding the Vedas, understanding the goal of life, and attaining the goal of life is sincerity. There are many ingredients, but the key ingredient is sincerity. Now, what is sincerity? Sincerity has many, many different definitions. This is some of them. Being honest, being truthful, being non-duplicitous, being straightforward, being serious, doing things by the heart, from the heart, not cheating others. Those four defects, one of them is to cheat others. And that's very prominent in this world we live in. Every step we want to cheat somebody. So, but being sincere is the key ingredient in all this what we talked about. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he had promised, he said, even though we may be following on the path of our spirituality, our sadhana, our bhakti, our devotional service, even though we may not achieve 100% success in this life, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu promises, if one follows the path of devotion with full sincerity, and yet somehow or the other he doesn't achieve to the end of the process by end of one's life, but if one is sincere in following that process, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, he will make sure that sadhaka or the practitioner becomes successful, because the key ingredient is sincerity in whatever we do, whether to understand knowledge or to distribute knowledge, or whether to implement in our life or to teach others. Because there's a saying, I think it was Abraham Lincoln, who said you can cheat some of the people some of the time, you can cheat most of the people most of the time, you cannot cheat all the people all the time. And that is, but before looking at others, we have to look at ourselves. So that's the end of the presentation. I know I was given 45 minutes. I think I just 45 minutes there.
It's flexible, Prabhuji, flexible time.
It could have been more. It could have been elaborated more. They were just simple bullet points. I thought
Yeah. But I was thinking, Prabhuji, because like you're saying, there's much more to reveal and to learn as well. Maybe we could have part 2 next week.
Yeah, sure.
Have a think about it and
Yeah,
let me
sure.
know.
Sure.
So dear devotees, wasn't that enlightening? Hari Bol! Wonderful class, wonderful class. Hari Bol.
Yes. Prabhuji, there's so much to learn and so much to read. When one could have a time for that?
So therefore, I always said, Prabhupada always said, just concentrate on 3 books.
Yes.
Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, and Chaitanya Charitamrita. Just 3 books are sufficient. Prabhupada compared Bhagavad Gita to the ABC of spiritual learning, Srimad Bhagavatam to graduate study of spirituality, and Chaitanya Charitamrita to postgraduate study of spirituality. So these 3 are sufficient for us.
Yes, thank you.
That makes sense.
Yes, dear devotees, let's open up the forum now. Let's have some audience participation. Who would like to start first, please? Is it Vijay Krishna Prabhuji all the way in Portugal? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Shriji, Kishori, Devidasi Mataji. I have a question.
Please go ahead.
But I can wait if a member of the Sangha would like to go first.
I'd like you to go first, Prabhuji. Please do go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You're most kind. Bimal Prabhu, can you hear me?
I can, yes, I can hear you.
Yes. So, you said during your class that for us to reach the goal of life, we need to surrender to a guru.
Yes.
But in Kali Yuga, and Srila Prabhupada did warn us about that, in Kali Yuga, we always have the tendency is for us to find to have real gurus and the fake gurus. So
True.
my question, based on this, my question is how to differentiate a bona fide guru from a fake one. That is my question.
All right. Yeah, it's a very good question.
Thank you,
There are,
Prabhu.
yeah, there is guidance on that. Say the Vedas, our scriptures, are so elaborate and so kind of beneficial to every level we are at, whatever inquiry we have, the scriptures tell us. Now, there is a definition of what is a bona fide guru, and there's a definition of what is a bona fide disciple as well. So both are there. So bona fide disciple or a bona fide guru, as I said, there's definitions in Nectar of Instruction. Nectar Instruction. We find Rupa Goswami also gives the definitions of what a bona fide guru is or supposed to be. We can look at that in detail, but simply put, summarizing all of that into just into kind of a 2-3 words, as Prabhupada kind of has also mentioned. He said, anyone who's attached to Krishna and works in that manner is a bona fide guru. That we can expand that. Anyone who's attached to Krishna, that means anyone who's detached to the world we live in. So it has an opposite, attachment to Krishna, the attachment to the world. And attachment to Krishna means following the instructions of Krishna and implementing those instructions in one's life with full sincerity. That is a bona fide person. Now, if you want to go in details, let's say in Nectar of Instruction, Upadesha Amrit, Rupa Goswami says, a sober person who can tolerate the urge to speak, the mind's demands, the actions of anger, and the urges of the tongue, belly, and genitals is qualified to make disciples all over the world. So if you look at technicalities, great technicalities, their definitions are given in the scriptures. So when we look for a guru, we should compare them. We should compare them and look for qualities of those individuals. Compare to what I just said, what Nectar of Instruction says, and similarly, Bhagavad Gita talks about chapter 2, text 55 onwards. In fact, we find Arjun also asks this question to Krishna. And he says, if you look at chapter 2, text 54, Arjun inquires, he says to Krishna, he says, what are the symptoms of one whose consciousness is thus merged in transcendence? That means, what is the symptom of a bona fide guru? How does he speak? What is his language? How does he sit? And how does he walk? And very practically, Arjun is asking not how much big, how many rounds he does, or how many big hairs he has, big beard, etc. No, simple. What is his language? What does he speak? How does he walk? How does he sit? Just by that. And then Krishna answers 55 to 72 of chapter, gives the definition of a bona fide guru. Like that throughout, and later on we find in later chapter, 13th chapter, I believe, Mahatmanu Smarta Partha, Devim Prakritim Ashrita, Krishna says, anyone who's under my surrender unto me, Krishna says, he is a Dharmatma, or he is a bona fide individual. So there are many reference points to judge and find a bona fide guru. But however, at the same time, a bona fide guru is somebody also. Now, I can elaborate on this so much because I teach disciple course, ISKCON disciple course. I teach that as well, and one of the main topics is this guru discipleship, the definitions of a guru, definitions of disciple, and besides that, if somebody may not be great erudite personality, somebody may not be a great charismatic personality, may not know so many verses, may not be so much knowledgeable. He may not be a great singer, you see, but yet he can be bona fide guru. How? If that individual strictly follows the Guru Parampara system, if that person strictly follows the guidance has been taught by previous acharyas and as taught by the institution, in this case ISKCON. So anyone can, so Guru has a broader definition, not just he has to be this, he has to be that, he has to be that, but somebody who's not our traditional understanding of Guru can also become a Guru just by following strictly the message and the instructions and the guidelines of the previous acharyas and institution, and or just by becoming a guru on the authority of a previous great acharya. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "Amara agya guru hoy." My order you become a guru. But obviously that means you have to qualify yourself to guru as well. So I hope that answers your question. I can go on this topic, but equally important is what is a bona fide disciple? Because a guru also looks for a bona fide disciple, and disciple looks for a bona fide guru. So both has to be taken in context. Simply put, one is attached to Krishna and detached to the material world. That's a simple definition.
Yes, Bimal Prabhu, I liked it when you quoted from the Nectar of Instruction. Yeah, that verse is very clarifying about the position of a real guru. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for your question and nice answer, Prabhuji, Bimal Krishna Prabhuji. So we'll move on to Kapil Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Kapil Prabhu. Would you like to ask your question, please?
Yeah. So Hare Krishna, Bimal Krishna Prabhuji. So it's not a question actually, but just to express my amazement on how you took the entire session in just like you can say few minutes, because we take 6-day sessions here in Delhi or India to go through each of these things, and it takes around at least 7 to 8 hours. But the whole content actually was summarized very beautifully and was delivered in the nicest way possible actually. So thank you so much, Prabhuji. My humble obeisances to you, and it actually gave me many ideas on how I can further actually take these sessions in future. So thanks for that.
Thank you. I just said these are just bullet points, and they're very summary. One can elaborate and go on much more detail, but there was a summary point to understand first.
Yeah, this is just a starting point. I'm sure we will carry on with this discussion. And Kapil Prabhu, when you do go to Vrindavan, please go and meet Bimal Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, sure.
Yes, please. You're more than welcome.
Thank you very much. Any more comments or realizations, reflections? Please, I would love your participation. Just unmute yourself. Hare Krishna?
No.
Okay. Sakshi Mataji, Shama Mataji, anyone?
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Oh, yes. Hare Krishna, Drishti Mataji.
Hare Krishna. This was such a wonderful class, very knowledgeable. Is it possible to have a recording of this?
Yes.
Of the class, please.
Yes, I have.
And the slides as well.
Yes, I will save the recording.
Okay, thank you, Mataji.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So what we'll do now is we can all unmute our mics and we'll wrap up the class now and we'll say 3 loud Haribols to Bimal, Krishna, Prabhuji. Haribol. Haribol. Haribol.
Oh,
Let's say our
Prabhupada
Vancha
ki
Kalpa
jai.
prayer now. Vancha Kalpa
Tarubhyascha
Kripa Sindhubhya eva ja Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnav Vrinda ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Guru Maharaj ki Jai. Thank you so much, everyone. And grateful thanks to Bimal Krishna Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
And
Thank
if I
you.
may say it, Bimal Krishna Das Prabhu ki jai and Shri Ji
yes.
Kishori Devidasi
Ki
Mataji ki jai.
jai.
Glories to
Haribol.
Srila Prabhupada. Thank you. Hare
Okay.
Krishna.
Thank you very much.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you for the nice. Hare Krishna.